How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. Today we're going over a video by Tom Davis. This is his channel right here, Tom Davis Dog Training. It seems like he changed the name from Upstate Canine Academy or whatever it might have been previous to this. Now it's Tom Davis Dog Training. So if you like him and you want to subscribe to him, go check him out, go support him. I don't recommend anything or most of the things that he does, but I'm not going to tell you how to think. A lot of these trainers, including him, in my opinion, he tells you how to think and what to think, and like Beckman does. I just put the information out there and you can choose to take it or leave it or make your own decision from that. That's what I'm trying to do, is teach people to think on their own. And I want to empower owners to know that they can fix their own issues with just a little bit of changing your mindset by not seeing that the dog is the one who is failing, but that, in all honesty, we have failed the dog, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You'll never hear me say that you are going to do anything that ruins your dog. His title is "This Ruins Your Relationship with Your Dog." He says it as if it's a fact, but it's a statement. It's his opinion. So we're going to go over this video. If you want to see the original, here's the title right here. So we're just going to go over this halfway through and hear about what he talks about with leadership.
So somebody comes into the house, somebody comes into the room, and they're like, "Hey, who's this?" And then you're the only thing.
So he's referring to the dog doing that.
It's like, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay." And the dog's like, "Stop, go lay down, person. Let me handle it."
No, I don't believe the dog is thinking that. Again, this is just my opinion. The dog is, my interpretation is that the dog is nervous and they are simply reacting to what this stimuli is. Whether it's the postman, it's Santa Claus, it's a break-in, burglar, whatever. And the dog, if you're trying to help them, they're too over threshold. So it can be an annoyance. It can be overstimulating for them. They're already overstimulated or highly stimulated. And it can cause a redirection. They don't mean to hurt you, but they just happen to snap or bite as if saying, "Hey, what's going on around me?" Because they have tunnel vision. They're focused on whatever this is. They lose all, we lose the dog at that point. They're at the red zone. So I don't see it as the dog is saying, "Let me take care of you. Get out of here, human. Go sit down." Can that happen? Sure. With each individual dog, everyone's an individual. I don't know each dog through and through to say that that's what they're doing. But most of the time, I would say the dog is doing it as a way of self-preservation. They're like, "Hey, what's going on?" They interact with him because they don't feel safe in their home environment. Can the human teach the dog to be comfortable, to be able to take, it's up to the human to prepare the dog that things like this are going to happen and it's no big deal. So the dog doesn't have to react. Instead, they can respond. There's a response or a reaction. Working with horses and a lot of spooky dogs, they teach you that, if you go to pet them and they flinch, that's a reaction. That's not a response. If you go to pet them and they stay there, or they acknowledge you, or they lean into it, that's a response. So that's my interpretation. I'm not going to ever speak for a dog. I can only say, as a human, what I think they're thinking. But in the end, I'm not trying to tell anybody that this is exactly what's going on.
Instead of go to your bed, stay. And it's not a...
Which I don't agree with anyway. You can force your dog to go to their bed. You can use a shock collar, prong collar, slip lead, whatever. You can force your dog, teach them through force or whatever corrective methods you want to, or even positively, but in this case, go to your bed, stay. You can do that, but that's not going to help them. That's just putting them away somewhere. That's like no different than putting them behind a closed door, putting them in the crate, go to bed. You're not teaching them how to comfortably accept what is going on. They're just there because they have to be, because you're forcing them to be there, because either they get corrected if they move, if you follow his technique, or they stay there because they've been prepared and they see this is nothing scary and they can automatically go on their bed, or they don't bark anymore because you've actually prepared them and taught them over time through positive reinforcement that, hey, this is actually not a scary thing at all. And that doesn't mean you have to constantly have treats in their face or anything like that. They're over threshold if you do that. That's not how you use positive reinforcement. That's just throwing treats at your dog's face, okay? There's a way to do everything properly, like everybody says. There's a proper way to use a correction, where you use it at a proper time and then you fade the correction out, but nobody ever fades the correction out. And positive reinforcement, we start with high value reward. We start with high rate of reinforcement. So if a dog was here and they're barking and they stop barking, I can reward. A second later reward again. Over time, we can reward every 5 minutes, or lead to real life reward. We fade out though. But nobody ever fades out of the correction. So instead of just forcing your dog to go sit on their bed and stay for fear of, again, being reprimanded, I would rather the dog learn that they don't even have to react. Or they can react, like with Adonis. He would give me a couple barks when someone was at the door. And I said, okay, thank you. And he said, all right. You know, I reacted. She got my attention off of it. I'm going to go lay down.
You know, it's not like I have a very girly voice myself, so it's not like this, like, big, strong, burly thing. It's just skill sets. Like somebody comes.
You don't have to have a big burly voice or anything like that, or anything. And it's not skill set. It's because you have corrections. You have a shock collar on your dog all the time, or you have a prong collar on every dog you've ever had and you ever worked with, or you have a tiny slip lead. That's what it is. It's not skill. It's tools. So it's all about leverage. When we aren't big enough or strong enough, or I mean, with horses, you know, when we aren't tough enough, we use a bigger bit. We use leverage. We use spurs. We use whips. We use 2 whips. We use tie downs. We use pain.
My door, my dog goes, hey, somebody's here. She barks. And I say, oh, it's the Amazon. Go to your place. Down, stay.
This dog has a shock collar.
Door, and then,
that's what that little bungee is.
you know, so.
That is very tight. Maybe it's a prong collar. I don't know. I don't know if that's a prong collar or not, but usually they have the shock collar, e-collar, whatever you want to call it, on a bungee cord like that. And that thing is tight. So I don't know if he's going to show in this his little remote or not.
Door, and then you know.
I think he only gives her that reward because she's on camera. That's just my opinion.
So you can have both, but oftentimes when people have problems with their dog is they only have one, because they think that love and affection is just the only thing, but they forget that the dog, again, it's just like with humans. Like, we can't just every day is do whatever you want. Oh, can I have $100? Sure.
That's not how life works with dogs. Because I use positive reinforcement and respect the animal is not they get to do whatever they want. This dog over here is only here because of a prong collar. He's forced to be here. And so he gives up. He or she gives up. His dogs all have a prong collar on. Very tight. They have a prong and a shock, or they have multitudes, or they have these tiny little slip leads that go around their throat. His dogs only do that because they're trying to avoid pain, and because they don't yelp and cry and shut down, people think it's okay because they have a high drive. It just hides the truth. They're not so blind as those who refuse to see. And in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king. So when I work with dogs and you know, owners who I've had owners who were, yeah, absolutely, just they don't ever want any boundaries, ever. I mean, I can teach boundaries. Just today, I was working with 2 horses, Talia and Gemini. And Talia is the lower horse, and Gemini is the higher horse, and their little mini sub-herd hierarchy. And I went to go brush out Talia in the pasture, and Gemini came over to go push her away, because I'm a resource, and Gemini wanted control of the resource. But when you have a human involved, human is the high horse. And I didn't control the situation through acts of aggression, or even hitting or touching the horse. When Gemini came up, I was aware that I was going to be, if I'm interacting with low horse, I'm going to be interacting, if I'm interacting with one horse, I'm ultimately interacting with all of them, because I'm going to create a draw for them to want to come in for either food or attention or whatever it is. So I went to go brush out Talia, and Gemini just starts walking behind her, and Talia moves away, yielding to the high horse. So I turned to Gemini, and I said, you're not going to push her away. So I just gently, I did this. I didn't even touch her. I was, I don't know, maybe 3 feet away. I just said, hey, putting pressure. She took a step back. Cool. I went back to Talia, went to go brush her again. Gemini takes another step. I do the same thing. You know, 3rd time, Gemini comes over, and I said, okay, we're not going to be pushing Talia. You're not going to push her out of the way. So I put a little more pressure, and I had her move. Instead of just taking a step back, I had her move to the right. I said, go on, get, you know, a couple clicks. That was it. I didn't yell at her. I didn't throw anything at her. I didn't have to touch her. Because she had been raised right. She had been raised to be able to listen to a whisper, metaphorically, and so I don't have to scream at her. She moved away. I went over, brushed out Talia, reinforcing that, hey, you don't worry about moving. You don't have to worry about this horse pushing you. Because sometimes horses can, you know, like animals, they can be bullies and they can push too much when they don't need to. You know, I took care of Talia, let her feel safe and comfortable with me. Gemini, understood and respected that I was able to move her feet and didn't push the issue. And after I was done with Talia, I went over and I brushed Gemini, and she appreciated that, and that was cool. And then we went our way. So that's leadership. If you want to say leadership, those are boundaries. But I don't have to use a prong collar. I don't have to use a bit or a whip or even throw anything at these two horses that could easily, kill me even by accident, if they wanted to. If they really want to, they can easily. I mean, Gemini could have tried to bite and all that, but she didn't. That was it. So that is just like with another horse. There's Arena. She's a sweetie pie. Every time I go up to her, I don't know I think it's probably anybody, but when I go up to her, she gets, pins her ears, and she gets really, what people would say, Mary, but she pins her ears, and she looks like she wants to bite you. She doesn't actually bite, but she's uncomfortable with anybody but her mom handling her. So whenever I walk by her, she pins her ears, and if I go over to just give her a little pet, she walks away, and her ears are to her head, and she looks at me, with that angry look, and I just stand there. And then she kind of looks away, and she may come over and sniff. She's allowed to come sniff me. I allow her to come in. She might kind of nibble a little bit at this, but she doesn't actually bite my skin, and if she were, then I would treat it accordingly. But I just stand there. I don't move. And then eventually I work my way over, and I give her a little brushing. I brush her neck a little bit, get that dry dirt off of her, fluff up her coat. She hates it. I mean, she tolerates it. She pins her ears, but that's me showing leadership, saying, hey, you're not going to scare me away. You're not going to push me away. All that. I also don't have to be aggressive with her. By doing that, she learns to accept handling from another person who knows what they're doing. If she were to really start threatening me, putting teeth on me, then I would up the pressure, and I would probably chase her off, for safety, But I don't have to. I can just stand there. And over time, I can do more interaction with her. I can interact with her more to show her, hey, you're not going to scare me away. I guess in a way you could say I get to do what I want, but I'm not doing anything to hurt her. I'm doing it, to make her safer, so she doesn't try to interact that way with other people. And she learns that pinning your ears doesn't get people to walk away, but if you're respectful, they will walk away. And that doesn't mean that the horse still can't tell me that they're uncomfortable with the situation. If I'm putting too much pressure on them when I'm just trying to teach them to accept something, then I slow it down. But that's how training goes. So you need to see it as it's not the dog's fault, it's not the horse's fault, it's not that they're failing. It's the human who needs to just tweak what we're doing. We have to be aware of that.
I don't really feel like doing my homework. Don't. Hey, clean up your mess. No. Okay.
And those are human issues. And even then, I don't mean people are going to be like, oh, you're so soft and this and that. Okay, well, piss off anyway. If there's times when, say you have a kid who says, I don't want to do my homework, there's probably a reason why. I mean, yeah, there could be a million reasons why. Why don't we communicate? But as humans, we can communicate. Dogs, we cannot. And we're not asking them to do their homework. We control everything a dog does. We control what they eat, how much they eat, when they eat, where they go to the bathroom, when they get to go to the bathroom, if they have to sleep in a cage, or if they have to wear a prong collar to go outside, if they have to have a shock collar, how tight it is, how high it is, how long it's on. We control every aspect up to water they drink. And they're still just happy to be here. So I think at the very least we could show them respect for being a very tolerant creature that we created, that they didn't ask to come into this life, into our life. And no matter how crummy we make it for them, they still make the best out of it, because they're a dog.
You can all talk about yeah, that probably wouldn't work out, but and unintentionally that's what we do with dogs. We don't hold them accountable for anything. And
okay, that's the thing that I hate about how these people say we need to hold the dog accountable. What did I just say 3 seconds ago? We control everything in our dog's life. We need to be held accountable. Every human here needs to be held accountable for their dog's behavior. Just like with a child's behavior. You don't go punish the child because the child is acting out. It's your fault that the child's acting out. I don't care what you say about it. I mean, with children and humans, to a degree, there's communication. But with animals, there is communication, but it's not like talking it through. It's not emotions. They're not quite that, sophisticated in the brain or whatnot, but they're still very intelligent. But no, all this nonsense, as soon as I hear someone say we need to hold the dog accountable, we put the dog in that situation. I already know that the person's an idiot. And that that doesn't mean that they're, I can't see them as a good person in other aspects, but you hold the human accountable, not the dog.
Again is like, hey, you're going to dump all of these things out on the floor, Timmy. You have to clean them up.
It's not the same thing with a dog.
Hey, do this. No. And then you pick them up.
So with a dog, if he talks about it like, hey, you do this, you heel by my side, you don't get to sniff when you want to. You only go outside when I say you can. And now I'm saying when you get to sniff, how long you get to sniff, if you get to sniff, where you have to walk, how fast you have to walk. If you have constant pressure on the leash that you can't control because I might be nervous and I have you up to here with the leash, you don't get to control any of that. It's a slave. It's a slave relationship. That's no relationship. That he's absolutely right. What he is explaining now will ruin your relationship with your dog. He's absolutely right. Spot on with his title. This information he's sharing with you now will ruin your relationship with your dog. In my opinion.
Because you want to just be shoulders straight, out with the dog like you own the world, and the dog is just here. And you're feeling this dog more than anything.
So your dog just exists to be a product, just exists to be an accessory to you. I mean, if you prepare the dog and you're confident that you've made your dog confident and comfortable, then yeah, that's one thing where you know that you can confidently trust your dog to be comfortable in the situation, no problem. I don't have a problem with that. But that's not what he's talking about.
Give you a better
prong collar on a Dogo Argentino.
With the dog, it's going to give you a better relationship with the dog.
No, it's not. It's not going to give you a better relationship. He moved the prong collar over this little, I think it was under here before, it was too low, so now you get higher up, you get more pressure, there's a lot more sensitive nerves right here. He's standing over here with his mom pose. But you don't get a better relationship with your dog. You get a better visual relationship with your dog. People will see it as a better relationship, but it's not. It just looks good. It looks nice. It looks like you're in charge. But you're actually not. Because as soon as you get rid of that prong collar, the threat of pain or force or fear and intimidation or shock collar, it goes right back to it. And if you're going to have a large power breed and you don't even know how to interact with them in a safe manner and prevent them from becoming what everybody fears, then you have no right owning a dog. And he has no right teaching them.
Keep walking. Don't look so much. Now back this way.
That dog's so cute.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's good. That's good.
Ouch.
Back the other way. Yep. Yep. Inside turn.
Ouch. So he can't even. These trainers can't even communicate with their own species. How the hell do you expect him to teach their own species to communicate with the dog? She runs into him. She's confused. Not to mention he's intact, which isn't the end of the world, but you can have, if you don't know how to work with the dog behaviorally, appropriately without having to rely on force and pain and intimidation, then being intact and extra hormones probably isn't going to help the situation.
For 1 second, do you see how you guys saw there how he was
confused
to that leash pressure? So you were putting leash pressure on and he was fighting it. He was like, what
ouch,
do I do with this?
Lip lick. Right? Yeah. He's fighting it because he says it hurts. You're exactly right. You're not teaching him what to do. You're just teaching him what not to do. Don't move forward. You're not teaching him, hey, stay by my side. And so when that happens, he has to pull out the treats.
That's just because he was getting information he didn't know what to do with. And then back this
way. You're the one who taught them. I guess he doesn't even get a treat. You're the one who taught them to use this. So you're teaching them to be confusing to the dog. It's all right here, people, like right in front of us. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know how to, he knows how to interact with the dog by himself. Hi, Burns. He doesn't know how to interact with a dog himself. He doesn't know how to share that information with people. He relies on tools. He has no skills at all whatsoever.
Okay, good. That's perfect. Just nice and relaxed. When you go ahead and turn the other way, just nice and smooth. Yep.
Turn
nice
into him.
There you go. Keep going. Keep going.
I guess
there
not.
You go.
Drag him with you.
Keep walking, keep walking,
Drag him with
walking,
you.
There. Nice. But you see here how he always wants to get in front of you too? Yeah. So put Get in front of
Ouch.
him now. Now, there. Keep
Ouch.
use your leash. Perfect. 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 If he does it again, perfect.
Just
That was
hold
good
the
for you,
leash
Susie.
there? Wow, that's a constant correction. Okay. Do all this, and it will ruin your dog's relationship with you. That's my opinion. So, this guy's a dummy. That's what I think. So, thanks for watching. I hope you got something from this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of it. And until next time, give your little critters, big or small, hooved or not, give them some kind of loving. Say howdy do for me. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.